Hello and welcome to my channel. If you enjoy ghost stories that are either whispered or soft-spoken, then welcome. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we're going to go ahead and get started. I will be reading 3 stories, personal ghost stories, that have been uploaded on a subreddit, and the contributors are in the description box below. The first story is, I've told this on Reddit before, but it's one I very rarely tell in person because people invariably don't believe me. When I was 20, I visited a town in Italy that has a medieval tower that you can climb. My girlfriend didn't want to, so I went up on my own and was the only person at the time doing so. It was a hot, sunny day when I entered the tower. There was a flight of stairs that wound around the edge of the tower, no windows. Climbing the tower took at the very most 5 minutes. At the top of the stairs there was a ladder and a trap door that opened up onto the roof of the tower. When I opened it, I found the weather had changed dramatically and was overcast and threatening. I forget if there was thunder or not, but I was genuinely concerned about lightning. Being at the top of a tall tower in that weather, I cautiously climbed out onto the roof just to have a quick look before going straight down. The roof was surrounded with a sort of metal cage of bars that were presumably intended to prevent anyone falling or jumping off the tower. I heard some thunder and saw electricity arc between some of the bars. Not a blinding lightning strike, just arcing. I decided that the tower was imminently going to be struck and descended as quickly as I could. At the bottom, I was surprised to find the weather was again sunny with a clear sky. My girlfriend could tell I was shaken and was amazed when I told her I thought that maybe there had been lightning. The weather hadn't changed at all whilst I've been up in the tower and had remained sunny and clear. I'm very much a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal. I'm not religious, and I've had no other weird experiences like this. In short, I'm not your stereotypical spooky things happen to me kind of person. And yet, I've no explanation for this. I've tried since to figure out which tower it was. I spent a couple of summers traveling around southern Europe and climbed a lot of old towers. I'm fairly sure it was the Tor Grossa in San Gimignano. It doesn't have a cage around the top, but there is a metal cage around the bells. And that must be what I remember. The next story is uploaded by Blue J Keiko. About a month after my father died, I was a week into school and slept through my alarm. If I got up, then I'd have 10 minutes to get ready before having to leave. I would be late if I didn't get up right then. Suddenly, I wake up to a male shouting my name at the foot of my bed. No man stood there, nor was there any male in my house at the time. My mom said she never called me. So my dad woke me up that morning so I wouldn't be late for school. Story number 3. I can't quite pronounce the contributor, so it's in the description box. My mom owns a cafe and the building is extremely old. During the first week of being open, the crazy neighbor came in and told all about the previous failed business that used to be here and how she senses that the spirit living here wants her to do well. While it's working for my mom, I had 2 experiences that kind of freaked me out. The first was really early in the morning, and my mom and I were doing some prep. We heard someone saying, "Hello," behind us, and both turned at the same time. I checked the whole building but found no one. The second was late in the afternoon, and a cake dome, the thing you put over cakes to keep flies away, flew off from the back counter and broke on the floor. Oh yeah, the crazy neighbor was right in the end, as she's now had the cafe for 15 years. My mom and staff all have their own crazy stories, but those 2 were the only ones I've experienced. Number 4. Again, the name is in the description box. I was probably 6 when my youngest sister had passed away in her sleep. I'm from a large family of 9 kids, and it was very hard on my family as we were a very close group. Well, for a few months after she died, I would be visited by a warm pinkish or warm white figure at the end of my bed. It felt warm and comforting, and a few times I thought it was my older sister. We were close in age and sometimes sleep in each other's rooms. Years later, I opened up about the figure. My older sister instantly lit up and said she saw the same figure and often thought it was me. Maybe just a traumatic response of being young and imaginative, but the fact that we both had the same experience was really freaky. The last story is by PatrickRsGhost. This didn't happen to me, but to my mother. Technically, it did happen to me as she was pregnant with me when it happened. When my mom was still married to my biological father, they lived in Pensacola, Florida. He was an actor at the time, and his troupe performed at the Sanger Theater. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's Sanger Theater, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. Back to the story. My mom wasn't allowed to drive due to being muy enchente with me. Oh, the pronunciation can't get any better, can it? Sorry about that. So let me start that again. My mom wasn't allowed to drive due to being muy enciente with me. So he would have to do all the driving. She would often get stir crazy and suffer cabin fever. So she made him take her with him to the dress rehearsals. My mom eventually took it upon herself to help out in the rehearsals. While the actors practiced their lines, the orchestra rehearsed their music, and so on. My mom would move around the theater taking notes. She would write down any issues she encountered when sitting in different sections of the house, like if a prop or piece of a set blocked the view of an actor from one angle, if one actor's mark happened to obstruct the view of another actor on their mark from another angle, or if the orchestra's performance of Heaven on Their Minds made it difficult to hear Judas's singing. At the end of the rehearsals, she would pass her notes along to the director and producer, who would then pass them on to the proper people. During one particular rehearsal, my mom was sitting up in the balcony and proceeded to head back to the main level. The lights were still down, so it was pretty dark, and as she was 7 or 8 months pregnant, couldn't see her feet. She missed a step and nearly fell forwards when she felt something grab her right arm and pull her backwards. It had a very tight grip on her arm and began to pull at her, urging her to go ahead. She proceeded down the steps, noticing the grip not releasing at all. When she got to the landing to the main level, she turned to thank whoever pulled her up, but nobody was there. There were no marks, no bruising, nothing to show that her arm was grabbed. Thank you for watching and listening. I do hope you enjoy the ghost story. I like the personal ghost stories. I enjoy both reading from books and historical, but I really like when it happens to people so they can express their own experience. I find it fascinating. Because what is the paranormal? What is ghosts? What is all that? So it's nice to know that we're being watched. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Again, I'm glad that you stuck around for the stories and stay tuned for more. And in the meanwhile, stay just a little scared. Bye.